Live from Television Hill, this is WJZ News at 6.
May God keep and protect our friend and colleague Elijah Cummings. Here on earth, we will miss him.
Family and friends and colleagues began a series of goodbyes to Congressman Elijah Cummings. Hello, everyone. I'm Vic Carter.
And I'm Rick Renner.
Right now, his body is lying in state in the rotunda at the United States State Capitol. This is a live look as people have been lining up all day to pay their respects and to say goodbye. WJZ's team covers tonight as the country remembers the life and legacy of Congressman Elijah Cummings.
And we begin tonight with Mike Helgren. He is live now from the Capitol. Mike.
Rick and Vic, we live in very divided times, and in his death, Congressman Cummings brought people together who have big differences politically. They came here to celebrate his life and legacy. Elijah Cummings' widow lifted her hands in prayer at his casket. Current and former lawmakers, friends, and family packed Statuary Hall inside the U.S. Capitol for an emotional service to honor the congressman, a civil rights leader who chaired the powerful House Oversight Committee. He is the first African-American lawmaker to lie in state here.
He saw inequality and worked to break down barriers and reduce disparities. At a moment of anger and pain in Baltimore, he walked with the people and brought them comfort and consolation.
Cummings died 1 week ago from complications surrounding long-standing health issues. He was 68. His political career began in the early 1980s in Maryland's General Assembly. In his final year, he frequently tangled with the Trump administration. Today, top Democrats and Republicans both praised him.
Perhaps this place in this country would be better served with a few more unexpected friendships. I know I've been blessed by one.
He never set out to be a giant, but he became one. He took on the mantle of an evangelist. He didn't work to prepare people for the hereafter. He worked to prepare people for the here and now.
If I can help somebody.
The voices of the Morgan State University Choir filled the chamber, remembering a man who rose from humble beginnings in Baltimore to become one of America's most revered leaders.
May Elijah rest in peace.
A genuine man of the people, Vice President Pence also stopped by to pay his respects. And tomorrow at the funeral in Baltimore, former Presidents Obama and Clinton will speak. Live at the Capitol, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
Mike, thank you. The public viewing at the U.S. Capitol drew a large crowd as hundreds of people gathered to pay their respects. Rachel Carden was in a line along with them to hear their stories. Rachel.
And of the dozens of people that I spoke to earlier today, one of them was a woman from Baltimore. She has a middle school son in a Baltimore City school. She told me many hearts are broken now that Congressman Elijah Cummings is gone.
With every step, a memory, a reflection.
Congressman Cummings has been a fierce warrior for civil rights for all people.
As lifelong Baltimore resident, Camilla Green stands alongside hundreds of people who have gathered to pay their respects to the late Congressman Elijah Cummings. She remembers how Cummings brought calm to the chaos during the Freddie Gray riots.
He had on just regular sweat clothes, and he went on the streets and just really talked to residents and citizens about where they were.
Green pulled her son out of school to attend the public viewing at the U.S. Capitol, saying this is the history lesson he needs.
He always thought that we could do more, and just one thing we could always improve on, and I'm going to take that to my schoolwork.
Baltimore residents were certainly not the only faces in the crowd as the line outside the Capitol stretched past the many, seeking a moment of serenity to pay their respects.
Representative Cummings gave his life for public service, and the least I can do is give a mourning to say thank you.
Though his legacy and courage will live on in memory, those mourning the loss of a fearless voice say
he'll be missed. In this day and age, he'll be missed.
Many called Elijah Cummings honorable, a warrior, and a patriot. They say he was what every public servant should be. We're outside Washington, D.C.'s U.S. Capitol. I'm Rachel Carden for WJZ.
And tomorrow morning, WJZ will carry the funeral of Congressman Cummings. Our coverage will begin at 10 a.m. The funeral will be at the New Psalmist Baptist Church. Community is also remembering a former Baltimore County executive. Roger Hayden passed away. Current County Executive Johnny Osefsky made the announcement today. Hayden served as the county executive in the early 90s and later went on to run a consulting group in Maryland. He most recently served on the Baltimore County Public School Board.
Senate President Mike Miller announces he is now stepping down. The 76-year-old Senate president is battling cancer. Miller has been Senate president since 1987 and will pass the torch to a Baltimore senator, 36-year-old Bill Ferguson. WJZ is live tonight. Political reporter Pat Warren says the announcement was not unexpected. Pat.
It was not unexpected, but it's no less a dramatic turn for the General Assembly and the state. An historic moment for the Maryland General Assembly.
We're going to have a couple surprises for you this morning. The first is not going to be a surprise to most of you, in that, after 34 years of being president of the Senate, my mind is still strong, but my body is weak.
At the beginning of the session this year, President Mike Miller announced he has cancer.
You have good days and you have bad days.
At the end of the session, he promised to keep senators informed as to his condition. Today, that came with a decision.
I suffer from anemia. I suffer from fatigue. And this is a full-time job. It's a statewide job. And we need somebody younger. And we have those people present in the room today.
The Democratic caucus voted unanimously to nominate Baltimore Senator Bill Ferguson to be elected president in January. Miller will hold his seat as a member of the Senate and is already working on issues for next year.
We're going to pass Kerwin this year. We're going to save the Preakness. We're going to do a lot of good things.
And they're going to have to adjust to seeing Mike Miller seated on the floor with them instead of standing at the front of the chamber.
It's been a great run. I have enjoyed every minute of it. I think the Senate is more inclusive because of me. It's been productive because of all of us working together. And it's been a great place to live and a place to work. And for 34 years, it's been the happiest years of my life.
Until January, Mike Miller is still president of the Maryland Senate. And in a statement, Governor Hogan calls Mike Miller a unifying leader who has shown us all what courage and determination look like. I'm Pat Warren reporting live for WJZ.
Baltimore City and police department officials faced a federal judge again today to report progress on implementing its consent decree. The agreement put in place to improve police-community relations following Freddie Gray's death. WJZ is live. Paul Gessler shows us how the judge reacted to news of an independent investigator hired this week. Paul?
Good evening, Vic. At its quarterly hearing here at federal court, BPD briefed the court on improvements with its Public Integrity Bureau, also talked about their staffing shortages, but really unearthing the roots of corruption took up most of the day this morning. Police brass arrived at federal court Thursday to update the court on its progress implementing police reform. They introduced Michael Bromwich, the D.C. attorney now tasked with investigating the causes and scope of the gun trace task force. Judge James Bradar laid out how difficult Bromwich's job would be. Bromwich replied he would do his best to untangle a complicated web. The commissioner this week ordered the department to cooperate with the investigation, but Bromwich's team does not have subpoena power.
We're hoping everybody is going to talk to them. If we have any issues down the road of people that we'd like to talk to, that they'd like to talk to, who don't want to, we'll have to deal with it at that point.
The commissioner's order has the effect of a subpoena on members of the department.
City Solicitor Andre Davis told the court the results of the investigation will be, quote, ugly, hurtful, and costly.
Stuff happens, and this is imperative. We've got to pay for this. Full stop.
BPD submitted a draft last week of a community policing strategy. Judge Bradar's most significant issue Thursday is getting rank-and-file officers to buy into the department's community policing initiatives.
And that's what community policing is. It's not any special unit. It's the entire department.
The judge and department officials agreed recruitment and retention remains a problem. Back live outside federal court, Commissioner Harrison was not in the hearing today. We are told he was out of state teaching at a police course. For now, we're reporting live downtown. I'm Paul Gessler for WJZ.
All right, Paul, thank you. 2 Maryland senators announced award money will help researchers study the Chesapeake Bay. Scientists will use $250,000 to learn about the benefits of marshes and reduce the effects of sea levels rising. Now, the grant comes from a research program with NOAA. The research program focuses on gathering information and solutions to mitigate flood risk.
Well, after a chilly morning, the temperatures stayed pleasantly warm today.
And taking a live look outside right now, a beautiful look over the skyline there, or not the skyline, the city itself, I should say, as we get ready to clock out for the day. Some of us, not us necessarily.
Oh,
yeah, we'll continue working right on through along with Bob Turk.
Sunset's in about 5 minutes, and it'll drop back into 40s and 50s tonight, but not quite as cold as this morning. We had a lot of frost north and west of the city. Right now, 65, 59 in Oakland, 67 Cumberland, Ocean City, Rehoboth at 62, Annapolis at 62, Dover at 60, and D.C. at 65. Tonight, 40s most places, even 50 Rock Hall, so it will be considerably warmer tonight with a southerly wind picking up. To the west of us, we've got some moisture we're tracking right now from Indianapolis down to St. Louis, down toward portions of Arkansas. That moisture eventually moving to the east, northeast. We do expect to see some rain for the second half of the weekend. Late Saturday into Sunday, a good chance we're going to see a period of rain. Could be some moderate shower activity once again for the second half of the weekend. We'll talk about the rest of the forecast in a few minutes. Vic?
Thanks, Bob. Volunteers with Habitat for Humanity broke ground on a new project in East Baltimore.
And the project will include transforming 15 empty houses on East Eager and Rose Streets.
The new site will offer training opportunities for those in the Habit Corps Workforce Development Program and helps train low-income individuals struggling to find employment in construction. The trainees got custom toolkits and hard hats today.
There you go.
I love a good toolkit.
We talked about that before.
Right. Still to come tonight on WJZ, the cold and flu season just beginning, and a study says millions of workers still show up to the office sick. 3 reasons why people say they won't stay at home.
Plus, a drug to help manage Alzheimer's. Why doctors say, or what doctors say it does to the brain. That's coming up next.
I'm Katherine Johnson on Capitol Hill, where Republicans are fighting to open closed-door impeachment inquiry proceedings to the public.
It is a sunny Thursday, but the clouds will be back soon. We have another chance for rain this weekend. Bob will be back with the full forecast.